Hemp Boca. Products of purest natural ingredients and providing a safe alternative method for relief from many symptoms, creating a healthier lifestyle without the use of opioids. Use Hemp Boca products for improved mental health and overall well-being. It's safe, legal, and non-psychoactive. Our pure and high-quality CBD is from clean industrial hemp, then extracted slowly over days to produce the strongest and most effective products on the market, made in the U.S. with no synthetic ingredients. Committed to bringing our customers the highest grade CBD oil on the market. Our industrial hemp, it's organic with no solvents and pesticides, gluten-free, vegan, full spectrum, and third-party double lab tested. Our top priority is your health and wellness, and we are confident you will love our products and the amazing relief so you can enjoy the things you love to do. Try our products and start living a healthier lifestyle. Hemp Boca. Good health and good sense are two of life's greatest blessings.
One of the key principles we like to teach our members at Phil's Stock World is be the house, not the gambler. Stand around a casino, and every day you'll see thousands of people walk through the doors and play various games of skill and chance, and yet none of them are likely to ever be as rich as the person who owns the casino. That, over the long run, the odds are always in his favor. This is not gambling, it's a mathematical fact. How would you like us to teach you how to use this simple mathematical concept to turn investing from gambling into earning by teaching you to be the house? This is the key to learning how to be a true investor in the stock market and not just a hapless trader of stocks. Or, to sum it all up, we'll teach you to be the house and not the gambler.
The views and opinions expressed on the Hemp Boca Show are those of the guests and audience, and are not those of the host, this station, media platforms, its management. The Hemp Boca Show is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Any information related to CBD products providing during the show are not intended to treat, diagnose, prevent, or cure, or make any medical claims. Before using CBD, Gene and Chris recommend you seek advice from a medical professional. Keep all CBD products away from children. Women who are pregnant, trying, or breastfeeding should not use CBD or hemp products unless instructed by your medical doctor. Hemp Boca's products are made in the USA from an FDA-registered facility that also carries the GMP, Good Manufacturing Practices, Organic, and ISO, International Standards Organization certificates. To access lab reports, visit www.hempboca.com. You must be 18 years or older to purchase product from Hemp Boca.
Show. We are live in Boca Raton, Florida. Sunny here. Trust me, we're yeah.
We're not in Delray anymore.
No, we're not. Well,
you almost.
No. I said it right. No, but we our hearts to the northerners that are dealing with a lot of the snow and the cold.
You mean Delray?
Northerners?
Yeah.
Don't know. Northern.
Oh, because we moved south to Boca.
Yeah. This is yeah. Yeah, right? This is a southern part of Delray.
Yeah.
Right? No, but...
I'm Jean, this is Chris, the Hemp Boca Show, and we have a special guest today.
Oh, thank you.
Joining us at 3:30.
We're not done yet, Phil. Leave the best for last. Come on now. Of course, Mr. Phil Davis is here. He's also part of Hemp Boca. And from philstockworld.com. Thanks for coming in today.
Howdy.
We appreciate it very much.
Howdy doody.
I have a story that came up I want to run by you, and has to do with, the financial sector.
Yes, and we were on the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Oh my God, what's wrong with me today? Earlier from 1 to 2, and they had some questions, and you had given an answer to one of the questions that we couldn't really, collaborate. So maybe we can clear it up for our audience later.
Happy to do what I can.
Do you remember the question? Freddie,
I answered all the questions. I think Gene missed all the questions, but I don't know.
No, I believe it was. I believe Don asked a question about. I'm trying to remember. Okay, I'll remember
It's okay. This is
You can
live
continue,
because this
yes.
happens.
Live
You lose-
confusion.
And we are graciously privileged to meet a woman by the name of Tiffany Kennedy. She is from Women's Veterans Circles, a fantastic. I literally had about 5-10 minutes to talk with Tiffany, and what she's doing with women and being a veteran herself.
Oh.
We first appreciate your service and what
Yes.
you're doing. It's very humbly, and we look forward as far as Hemp Boca and hopefully communicating with you more to see how we can partner up together. But we're, being in the health and wellness industry, we always like to come across different opportunities and stuff for other people that have the same goals and, have a mission. And, helping
Absolutely,
others.
absolutely. I was just speaking with her, telling me that my aunt was in the service. She was a doctor in the Army,
Yeah.
and she's now out. I was asking her, is she in reserve? Yeah, so she'll, explain more to that.
Yeah, yeah.
When she comes
But
on.
Tiffany will be on our show in the second half at 3 o'clock, so stay tuned for that. And so I wanted to run something by Mr. Phil being here. Recently, according to, let's see, The Star. It says here the headline.
Star.
The Star.
The Star.
Like the supermarket store?
STAR. No,
Okay.
it's a,
What is it?
news company here.
Online news company?
It doesn't say. It could very well be they could have an office, but
They have fake news out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aware of that.
What is the star telling us?
We're
Let's
getting
find out.
political, I see.
No, I mean, is it the national star? Is it the one you get in the supermarket?
Well,
Because
it actually says The Star. So
the
whether
star.
it's
Hey,
online or,
could be.
something.
All right, lay it on me. Let's see if it makes any sense. I'm sorry. You say star, I got skeptical, but let's hear the question first.
I mean, I don't know why you're skeptical, but and this is so the heading is CBD can harm you, according to the U.S. What does this mean for Canada's cannabis sector? So apparently, there's been in the past year, close to 13 months of some testing of CBD, and people, of course, with the stigma and all out there.
What did you say, stigma?
Stigma.
Stigma, okay.
Yeah, I get it. Did I say it right?
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
She's in some mood today, huh?
Oh, yeah. It all started about an hour ago, trust me.
Okay.
2 years ago, really. But,
I think he meant stigmata. Yeah.
Or stigmatic.
So apparently, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration had warned like certain health risks of CBD, but they have not disclosed what the health risks really are on CBD. So when
The FCC,
U.S. FDA.
FDA.
Yeah.
The FDA believes there are health risks,
Yes.
but they're secret and they won't tell you.
They're not going to disclose, but they seem to. Be,
I'm already being suspicious of this
I know,
article.
I know. They seem to be. Well, I don't know. Be specific. But what's going on with the stigma there in Canada is that you have this group of individuals, and you've got obviously the FDA. And when I read these articles, whether it's the Star, CNN, Fox News, the first thing that comes to my mind is that they're all into the big pharma, and they're trying to deter consumers into really thinking CBD is not a good alternative than opioids. But it's okay to acknowledge what opioids can do to people, And so, as a result, they are saying that there have been many CBD companies that are actually facing the lowest in returns of revenues. It's really hitting their pockets because of what they're saying. So my question to you is, I've always asked you every week, about the weed stocks and why there's been a significant drop. And so when I read this article, to me, without any regulations, without really knowing what CBD can do for the body, I mean, we do know, but when it comes to science or true case studies or what they're basing it on, but they're willing to make these headlines or make these comments, whether it's been exaggerated or not, but it is out there, but yet they really have nothing to back them up on. So then it negatively impacts the stock market and these companies and the values and revenues. So my takeaway is, are they really trying to deter the potential success of CBD so people can not think that it's better than taking opioids? So the whole big pharma sector is losing billions of dollars.
Wow. Do we only have 1 hour? Because
I know.
it's a big topic.
It's a good question. Yeah, well.
anytime there's a new disruptive industry, you're going to have the old guard industry with their lobbyists and so on and so forth try to get rid of it or try to damp it down or stop it or whatever. So in this particular case, you have on several fronts. You have the vaping, which is not necessarily CBD, but you have vaping people replacing the tobacco industry. You have CBD replacing pain medications, and oddly enough, because it's more effective, it's not so much that people are getting off opioids. They don't give a crap. Somebody's got pain, wants their pain relieved. And if the CBD is more effective than the thing they're taking, they'll switch to the CBD, which is what's wonderful about it, really. It's because it definitely has less side effects. I mean, you hear these things on TV, and they spend half the commercial telling you about all the horrible things that will happen to you if you take the drug.
Absolutely.
You know, they're like, ask your doctor, but be careful of suicidal thoughts and aching and swelling and spinal this and something with your kidney and your lungs exploding and so on and so forth. But otherwise, isn't it great? Finally.
I know this.
Finally, your hangnail won't throb. You know, it's like it's crazy what people put up with.
It's been proven a good quality industrial hemp, the THC level from hemp is non-psychoactive. It cannot impair you.
That's not even a thing.
Why aren't they backing that up?
But that's not the question, though. You're saying that there are undisclosed harmful effects from CBD.
Right. Well, in addition,
which makes it sound very suspicious anyway, because the FDA doesn't say, "Oh, there's a problem, but we're not going to tell you what it is," because their job is to warn you of problems. It's like if there's something wrong, they're going to tell you immediately. We think there may be. They were talking earlier. In fact, early in the year, they were talking about potential liver damage from CBD, but then they did further testing. They backed away from that comment because they said, you know what, it actually doesn't really damage the liver unless you take incredible doses that are beyond the scope of realism. The same way that saccharin doesn't give you cancer, where there was a scare of saccharin giving you cancer. And again, why? Because it disrupted the sugar industry. So the sugar lobbyists, who advertise heavily on TV, radio, magazines, newspapers, and those people are in their employ. You know, and don't think they're not, because we don't have sponsors. We have a couple of sponsors, but you don't have sponsors like breathing down your neck constantly. But if you cross a sponsor, they're going to drop your show. And they'll tell you, if you sponsor the sugar company and you start and you promote NutraSweet or whatever is like an alternative, they're not going to be happy about that. They're going to say, no, it's not. And they're going to tell you, please mention on your show, I'm your sponsor, please mention on your show, it causes this and it could do this and it could do that. Same thing with a magazine. All these people take advertising money. And they all respond to lobbying things.
Do you believe that the FDA is really there to look out for our best interests?
Yes and no, because they need to protect the consumers, right? That's their job to protect. That's what everyone believes.
That's a whole different problem, though, with government. I mean, things have been perverted a lot. The EPA is not looking after your interest at all anymore. That's gone crazy.
I think, for me, I think the FDA was really looking out for our best interest. We wouldn't be having so many stats on opioids and what it's doing to people.
Well, that's what we're programmed to believe the FDA are looking for our best interest, but it comes down to
it's not really. The problem with opioids is that they were there for 100 years. It's not really like the FDA's purview to go back and stop everything that's been done in the past.
Plant-based medicines have been the first.
But that's the FDA didn't exist before any of this stuff, so it's all been there. They don't come in to like start clearing out the field so much. They're really there to regulate new stuff that comes in and decide whether that's okay. Some things become illegal, like cocaine became illegal. Cocaine used to be used to treat tons of stuff. They used to rub cocaine on your gums to do your teeth. Coca-Cola had cocaine in it. That's true. But so in other words, cocaine used to be legal. They made it illegal.
They don't anymore?
No.
What? Only your dentist. Is that?
That's cocaine.
Yeah, but they don't have.
No,
anymore?
Of course not.
No.
They don't have cocaine anymore in Coca-Cola that you give to your kids.
Well.
No.
She's like, I'm going to publish that.
Only the Mexican Cokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I see everybody drinking those.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how you feel, Gene, but I got a different. I'm all for the FDA coming out with regulations, but for me, my opinion, I'm not convinced that they're going to look out for the best interest of the consumer, and that, hey, there's plenty of case studies, there's plenty of well-known doctors out there.
Well, yeah, Chris, I don't disagree with that, but I'm saying if that was the FDA's job, then tobacco wouldn't be on the market, would it? It's clearly harmful.
That is true.
They have no power to get rid of it. They can only offer opinions when they're asked about something of whether it's good or not, and they can only say chewing tobacco. They came down on and stopped that because they were starting to market chewing tobacco to kids and things.
Oh my
The
God,
FDA jumped all over that, but they can't stop cigarettes. They were legal. Everything is grandfathered in that they can't touch. Anything that was there before they got around to regulating.
It's interesting. The Department of Agriculture is more on the positive side and more supportive of. Well, why? Because they have direct control over how you would grow anything, really. But they're more, there's a word I'm looking for, but they seem to be more understanding and open-minded in support of. And recognize that.
But I just think we shouldn't. Yeah, I don't blame the FDA. That's all I'm saying. I just think that they're doing their job as best they can. They're understaffed, underfunded, so on and so forth, and they try really hard to test and make sure things are safe that are coming on the market, but they can't go backwards and do anything about stuff that's already there. On the other hand, though, they haven't been unfair to CBD, and they haven't been unfair to THC. Frankly, they're giving everything a good thorough testing and giving it time and so on and so forth. But what they don't like is they don't like the vaping stuff. All of a sudden, it's like as soon as something starts hurting people, that becomes their priority. So this year, they had to jump all over that stuff with the vaping because that was out of control, like in 10
And the
seconds.
article that just came out, when was this, like this week or last week, about the FDA warned 15 CBD companies that was mislabeling and false advertising, saying that their various products are containing to none or little CBD in their products.
THC.
CBD.
Oh, you mean
CBD
it said they didn't even have CBD?
Right,
Exactly.
correct.
What the heck is going on in this world?
As little, yes.
Isn't it crazy?
We'll put genetics in there and sell it at a higher
And
profit.
Wow.
they've listed 15 companies, and some I'm familiar with them. And these are big, well-known companies that are
Isn't that
doing this.
crazy?
It is crazy.
So on a
you-
financial standpoint, I'm getting like you now.
yeah, like,
Cutting you
excuse
off.
me. No, go ahead.
But, no, it's a good article, Gene.
It is.
You bring up a good point.
And this has been published by the FDA. It's the FDA website.
Well,
also.
that is their job, though, is
Yes.
to say these people are not doing what they're supposed to do.
So this article, they reference a lot of Canadian companies, so go figure. There were top 10 Canadian pot companies, they have a name, that lost all combined $20 billion in shareholder value since August, just a few months ago.
Mhm.
So, but in Canada, when everything became legal across the board, there were instantly so many issues about quality of the oil, right? Where companies were buying some of their products from overseas, or making stuff where they shouldn't be, or really not clearing out the pesticides and metals and stuff like that. So I believe that plays a big role in why those products may not be helping or harmful to a person. It's not actual seed. It's not the CBD that's actually the harmful component.
But this is why these things take time, and this is what the FDA has to do. They have to
Well,
spend
then don't
years
write an
studying
article and
things.
Pinpoint CBD. Then don't.
But
say
I don't
CBD
believe
doesn't
I don't
do
believe
this.
I don't believe the FDA wrote that article. I don't believe that I think that's just, what I'm saying is lobbyists put these articles in. They push to have somebody who they're connected to write an article. Like I have a newsletter site, right? So they'll pay me.
Right.
By the way, should I say? I won't say who. A very famous newsletter writer, stock market newsletter writer, last year or so, and he was on Fox all the time, and Fox, of course, but he was on Fox all the time, and he had a thing, and people followed him, paid money for his advice, and blah blah blah. Turned out he was getting paid for $50,000. He'd say anything about anything. Turned out like he was just taking checks And if you want him to say this company's great, he'd say the company's great. And if you want to say it's bad, he'll say it's bad. And if you want to say something's good for you, bad for you, he's happy to write it up.
It's so sad.
And
it's the way of the world.
It's the way of the world. And the problem is, the problem is that, and by the way, had it come to light and he had not been a Fox person, it actually would have probably gotten washed away, because who really regulates? He's got a newsletter. People can stop following his newsletter, but that's about all that could really happen to him. Because he worked for Fox and got fired and everything, it became a bigger deal, because they were like, well, we can't be having somebody blatantly doing this stuff.
Not mentioning names, now has a podcast.
Of course. Well, why not? That's where everybody runs to now.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
And anyway, so we'll call him Mr. Smith for anonymity.
Is it
Although
Joe Smith or John Smith?
don't keep asking, because you'll hit it. Anyway, but the point is, yes, unfortunately, because there are so many news sources like the Star, which may be the National Star, which is a piece of junk paper in the first place, so I wouldn't pay attention to anything's written there. Look at the National Enquirer. It got paid off and wrote whatever about Donald Trump and would write bad things about Donald Trump's enemies. That's the National Enquirer. I mean, it's all over the place. I understand, but these are major public, I don't call it a publication, but, it's something everybody knows about and reads these things. But to the extent in the blogging community, there was a big scandal over at Seeking Alpha where authors were getting paid to talk up stocks and so on and so forth. No, probably here though.
Boca Raton.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
It's like when they say in the news, Florida man. It's like
First anthrax threat.
Yes, I remember that.
Boca.
Yes, at the news National Enquirer.
Why would you threaten them? It's weird.
Somebody was very much against their whole, mission or whatever the National Enquirer likes to do every day, which was not write true stories.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
there's a lot of.
But anyway, so the
articles.
problem is, unfortunately, there's so many thousands, tens of thousands of people who have presences that write for their own newsletters or for other people who contribute to Forbes as stringers. This is also bad. I don't want to say Forbes in particular, but I mean, I was just thinking it's very easy to write for Forbes. It's very easy to write for a lot of these magazines that carry huge amounts of prestige, but also will hire thousands of people to be authors in their thing. It's surprising how easily you can get published in something. People who write editorials. You read editorials all the time in the paper that are complete nonsense. Yeah. But unfortunately, people submit editorials. So who submits editorials? Lobbyists submit editorials. They have their own writers that submit these things. A lobbying group has a writing staff all day long working to push certain news into the press, and they'll push it to the editors, they'll push it to the publishers that owe them for advertising and so on and so forth. They'll push it to, and sometimes you don't even realize it, like they'll have, let's say they have the lobbyist group has a huge car company that they lobby for, like GM. Now they want to get they want to have some vaping company and push the vaping company. Well, the vaping company doesn't advertise on the magazine, but GM does, and they'll pick up the phone and say, hey, we're the GM guys, and we want you to run this story on the vaping. And so it's hard to make the connection sometimes to figure out.
It is unfortunate and fortunate at the same time with the new technology these days that everything is out there.
And
regardless.
Exaggerated just to get you to click on them.
But it's
a commercial.
Speaking of sponsors.
Yes.
Some fine newsletter, probably.
Yes, and if
Hemp Boca show.
And also, if you'd like to go check out our products and read on our educational section, please visit hempboca.com and some of our products here, and we'll be back after these commercials, and we'll talk about some of our Ivy League, our partners in crime, about our Ivy Rose, Ivy League. They are Ivy League products, yes. Thank you very much.
Experian Travel, a subsidiary of Cruise Planners Travel Advisor, is merely a selling agency and makes no warranty expressed or implied. Each cruise planners is individually owned and operated. Experian Travels and Cruise Planners, an American Express travel representative, has a tremendous reputation for quality, service, and a very competitive pricing for all of your travel needs. Our travel advisors will help you discover exciting adventures around the world, from cruises to land tours and completely packaged vacations. We specialize in all types of travel and will create an unforgettable vacation just for you.
One of the key principles we like to teach our members at Phil's Stock World is be the house, not the gambler. Stand around a casino, and every day you'll see thousands of people walk through the doors and play various games of skill and chance, and yet none of them are likely to ever be as rich as the person who owns the casino. That, over the long run, the odds are always in his favor. This is not gambling, it's a mathematical fact. How would you like us to teach you how to use this simple mathematical concept to turn investing from gambling into earning by teaching you to be the house? This is the key to learning how to be a true investor in the stock market and not just a hapless trader of stocks. Or, to sum it all up, we'll teach you to be the house and not the gambler.
Welcome back to the Hemp Boca Show, live in Boca Raton, just south of the southern part of Delray Beach, Florida.
We moved a little further south.
Yeah, the Hemp Boca Show. If you're interested in our products or just learn about CBD, versus cannabis, please go to hempboca.com. There's a lot of information there as well. And I'm here with my host Gene and from philstockworld.com, Phil Davis. And we have a special guest, Tiffany Kennedy from Women Veterans in Crisis. Thank you for being here, Tiffany.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Appreciate it very much. And I understand that it's a fascinating story, what you have personally, but also most importantly, what you're doing with women veterans and Florida's first in the nation therapeutic ranch for women veterans and their children. So welcome, and I'd like for you to just elaborate more on what you're doing.
Thank you, Chris. In these studios with the Brooklyn Cafe TV show, which Gene and Chris, you were just on last hour, I walked in from a lunch with Mitch Colton. He's the founder of Women Veterans in Crisis. And as you said, it's the first of its kind horse ranch. And this is for women veterans who find themselves in the epidemics of substance abuse and mental illnesses and service-connected disorders, from PTSD to my own service-connected disability as a mental condition. And I just last month, after a 9-year claims process and a 5-year homeless period here in the county in West Palm, have been granted the 100% service connected with compensation. So for female veterans who are facing, or any veteran facing that process, this specific solution or proposal that's with Congress right now for full funding is for women. So it'd be for 250 female veterans and 35 children at a time on a 300-acre horse ranch, first of its kind, and that's a 3 to 9 month transitional program for the dual diagnosis mental conditions. And after they've completed transition, I'm hoping we're looking to welcome this population into our community in Palm Beach County, into a home to continue their social integration, such as I've completed. I've been 2 years without a drink of alcohol, and I just told you I'm 100% service connected for a situation in my active duty. So I was a captain in the United States Air Force at Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, and I had some responsibilities in anti-terrorism and first responder exercise evaluations and notional exercises to mitigate terrorist threats, bio mostly.
Wow.
So we're here, and so therapies and preventative medicine, preventative health medicine, that's kind of our consciousness approach to our care, and especially myself now, I mean, I just finished at Everglades University a master's in public health administration with a complementary alternative medicine concentration.
Wow.
So I'm
That's
really,
impressive.
yeah, I have a chemical engineering degree, and for my first 14 years, I chemically engineered foods for Kraft and Dannon. So I'm very familiar with CGMPs. And
wow.
you may be facing what's called the CTPAT, Custom Trade Partnerships Against Terrorism. Those are approvals you have to get to bring products in from international. And then I'll finish with the Chemical Food Codex. I think, Phil, you mentioned that things have gone global and we've really loosened up our control. Well, we used to codex all of food ingredients with domestic. The USDA oversaw the Chemical Food Codex, and it's a big giant book that every type of ingredient, anything approved by the FDA, goes through this series of identifications, and no matter how you assay it or weigh it, it'll always be this molecule. It'll always turn out after this supernate, and after it's filtered and dried, it will always be this, down to plus or minus so many decimal points, milligrams. And you get the example. But what we've done is we have what's called now the Codex Allomeretus, which is global. So there's this database that resides internationally, and we are approving our food standards or our food ingredients to international standards. And so that obviously affects where our mark is for quality. And so I can appreciate this high quality. I love the word luxury. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, to assure that, if you're going to be interested in a product, you really do need to look into quality and it's not just a quantification, which brings us back into evidence-based medicine and the FDA doing these the approval process on the medicine, but it's kind of hard to do that for a preventative alternative treatment therapy, because we're always looking. We have a medical system that was designed allopathically for symptoms and around organ systems and disease. Not really preventative type of an approach to our wellness. Right. And so now with therapies, like anything from a V8, when I drink a V8, I can feel it like therapeutically. So it's a different feeling than taking a pill and waiting for something to subside.
Right.
And so it's always going to be.
Our medical system is based on putting out fires rather than prevention, which is unfortunate.
And a treatment may be designed around a certain organ system, because it goes into surgery and.
There's an article from Industry Hemp Daily where there was a question there which kind of just relates to what you just said. It says here, do consumers buy brands or do they buy products? See, for me, I'm one person that just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's the best or the good product.
That is correct.
You really have got to do your research. And I also believe that just because it's the cheapest, it's not the cheapest too. There is an in-between, but again, it boils down to who's making it, what those people envision, and what they're trying to, kind of like how Hemp Boca, we feel our prices are very, very reasonable. They're not high, they're not low. But we also believe and we know that we have a great product too, and so I can echo what you're.
I know that was kind of a lot. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to cut you up, but I want to. If we can get back to your thing, I'd like to just ask you a couple of questions on it. Where did the system fail you? What happened? First, let me get a timeline. Like you were in food services first, then the Army?
Yes, I had a full career with a chemical engineering degree, and then with the economy crashing in 2007. I oathed into the United States Air Force and got active duty orders in 2008.
And
with an age waiver.
And in the Air Force, due to your background, they put you into a sort of a chemical anti-terrorism.
Yes, I was with the chemical engineering degree. My AFSC, my Air Force Service Code 43E3, a bioenvironmental engineer. Bioenvironmental engineer is in the medical corps, the bio corps, in the medical group, a non-combatant. And we are the OSHA of the United States Air Force, Occupational Safety Health Administration.
Right.
And I also had a dotted line reported into the Surgeon General through the Public Health Command. So my role was to protect airmen from disease non-battle injuries. Those are called DNBIs. There are more disease non-battle injuries than combat wounded injuries. And so I actually had a mission of preventative health medicine. Thanks a lot for the question.
Well, no, I'm just curious what happened though. So then, because your story is interesting, I want to figure out how
what
that
happened?
worked. So then what happened? Now somehow something went bad.
Yeah, something
So
happened.
what happened?
Just a little. Well, we were. One of our responsibilities we had what's called, I was the radiation safety officer of Langley Air Force Base, Virginia. And so the 43E bios were all, their names are on a permit for licensed, they're called M22 chemical agent detectors. And it's an inventory that's been around since World War II. And these devices were put on the perimeters to detect incoming mustard gas, ricin, and lewisite. And these devices have been around in inventory for since World War II. And what they do is they alarm, they have a sensitivity with the nickel-63 isotope that if they detect mustard gas, ricin, or lewisite, they will alarm and you don your mask gas. Your gas mask, your mask gas.
I'm
They
counting.
probably have those too.
Welcome to the Hemp Boca Show.
I don't have the therapies yet.
No, you're speaking Gene's language when you
I
do that.
know. Oh, yeah, okay.
So, the radioisotope nickel-63 has a 100-year half-life. So that puts us at about, this is now about the time that isotope is going to decay. And when it decays, it emits beta and gamma radiation and anything it's been exposed to if it's leaking. So the inventory was managed to be disposed of in Texarkana, Texas, years ago. And so a few of those devices were beginning to escape from inventories. And so mitigating that whole escape, because if those escape and are put anywhere other than in inventory, they are considered a radioactive dispersal device.
And when you say escape, you mean stolen?
Yeah, I escaped.
Well, they didn't.
Misplaced.
They didn't run off.
They were
right?
Misplaced or run away.
What's it called? It's called redistribution of government goods. Well, they were being.
Oh, resold.
It's a
No, they were being.
Resale?
I found them packed
kind
up
of
in
a
a shipping
diplomatic
container.
way of saying.
And you
Okay.
would only ever they would never be transported or packaged in such a fashion, and so it was a full mitigation of a radioactive dispersal device. And then mitigating that, it created a very serious situation for me, and I was right. It was happening. I just didn't have at the time the support, the full resources to handle a full mitigation. And 3 days after it was stopped, the Pentagon Radioisotope Committee came out with a memorandum that says cease all shipments of chemical agent detectors because we've lost all traceability from 5 installations. And that was in 2010. And so that caused me a severe mental break. That I still clearly.
What, like it became a big incident and they put a lot of pressure on you kind of thing? Is that?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
all across the Air Force, there's a lot
Okay.
of pressure. Yeah, and to.
Well, I'm sure they take it very seriously, and somebody was doing something wrong, obviously.
Right.
So
It
I imagine
concluded
there was
with
a nasty investigation.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, a diligent one with Office of Special Investigation. So the Air Force has an OSI, just like the nation has an FBI for civilian federal investigations. And all of that, the severity of, it's very similar. I was not a combatant, but pulling the trigger, having a training that actually is utilized real world, not notional. So, and that moment happened for me, and I haven't been able to come back from it.
So, if I understand what happened then, so basically you stressed out, basically couldn't continue your job while they pushed you out or whatever.
I resigned.
You resigned, okay, and now you're out, and now they're probably not giving you like pay because you resigned, and they don't feel that they did anything wrong.
It didn't come,
Yeah.
that's not fundamentally the claims process. No, I
Yeah.
mean, it was there's enough documentation of the actual to the standard of the law for a mental condition, and all everything that came.
So it's really an issue. It
not
just
in
took
the
forever
9
for them
years.
to recognize it.
Yep, a pattern.
And so in that gap, which is a 9-year gap,
I have a pattern.
they
of the
just
exact
left
same-
you, bye-bye, good
in
luck.
the woods.
Yeah.
And what happened there is
Wow.
just a demotion of benefits and a dispassioned West Palm Beach VA Medical Center demotes the women population. There's a transitional housing program for the men and the men only. It's called Stand Down Faith, Hope, Love, Charity. And the women are not, they say that there isn't a female population of veterans in the county that requires transitional housing. And that's not an accurate narrative. And
It seems wrong.
and that's my first person lived experience. But
Speechless.
the narrative, and I'm not alone. There are others, but they find themselves. Well, they have to get on with their lives, so they're living in our county, and they're availing themselves of other things in the community, like assertive community treatment and mental illness. There's programs there, and then there's the community of halfway homes and the community of agencies and organizations that actually reach out to people with these disorders. and
But you were
diagnoses.
actually homeless.
Oh yeah, I lived in a tent on 45th and Congress underneath the 2 bridges and in the woods across from JFK North Memorial.
Wow.
JFK Hospital.
So I mean,
did
this
you
is
come-
fascinating to me because she's got
Yeah.
here's a smart, intelligent woman.
Yes.
Served her country.
Yes.
Didn't do anything terrible or anything like
No.
that. And she's by circumstances homeless. And she sees the problem from the inside and does something about it. Though I think that's really fantastic.
Yeah,
that
very
you, from
honorable
that view, from the
that.
point of view of somebody
Right.
who's actually been hit by the
ju-
system.
Just the fact that
to-
just the
To
fact
do
that you
this.
served our country and risked your own life to protect us. None of anything what you've gone through you shouldn't even experience. But I want to continue. I'm so sorry. We got to go to a break.
Yes.
This is the Hemp Boca Show. Just an incredible story. I'm like speechless myself. We're live at Boca Raton. We'll be right back in about a minute.
Experian Travel, a subsidiary of Cruise Planners Travel Advisor, is merely a selling agency and makes no warranty expressed or implied. Each cruise planners is individually owned and operated. Experian Travels and Cruise Planners, an American Express travel representative, has a tremendous reputation for quality, service, and a very competitive pricing for all of your travel needs. Our travel advisors will help you discover exciting adventures around the world, from cruises to land tours and completely packaged vacations. We specialize in all types of travel and will create an unforgettable vacation just for you.
Hemp Boca. Products of purest natural ingredients and providing a safe alternative method for relief from many symptoms, creating a healthier lifestyle without the use of opioids. Use Hemp Boca products for improved mental health and overall well-being. It's safe, legal, and non-psychoactive. Our pure and high-quality CBD is from clean industrial hemp, then extracted slowly over days to produce the strongest and most effective products on the market. Made in the U.S. with no synthetic ingredients. Committed to bringing our customers the highest grade CBD oil on the market. Our industrial hemp, it's organic with no solvents and pesticides, gluten-free, vegan, full spectrum, and third-party double lab tested. Our top priority is your health and wellness, and we are confident you will love our products and the amazing relief so you can enjoy the things you love to do. Try our products and start living a healthier lifestyle. Hemp Boca. Good health and good sense are 2 of life's greatest blessings.
Welcome back to the Hemp Boca Show. We are live here in Boca Raton. We are with an extraordinary woman from Women's Veterans in Crisis.
Yes.
The first in the nation therapeutic ranch for women veterans and their children, Miss Tiffany Kennedy.
Yeah, prior to taking our break, I mean,
Yeah.
she's told us like such a courageous story
Yeah.
that just left me,
I know.
speechless.
I mean, it's wow. I mean, I can understand, or I can comprehend what some of the things you're saying, because my father is in the Air Force, and he did tours in Vietnam,
And I know, as close as I am to him, I know that the stories that he has told me involved, things that affected him involved mustard gas and other chemicals. He didn't go into details, but he feels over the years and years of testing that there's some symptoms that he carries with him today and the medicines that he uses with the veteran hospital, have confirmed that it had to do with his exposure.
Wow.
And the PTSD and stuff. But my father, you wouldn't know that. He's so humble. You wouldn't know what he's feeling. It's not visual what he's experiencing. It's all
everything's internal.
And the things that you were talking about, it really took me back to my young age, because my father and I always talk to each other. I know so much about my dad, more than my other siblings, and especially his military experience. But
And his condition.
his condition. So I resonate, and God bless you, and I'm so connected to your story.
Yes.
Because it kind of hits home for me.
Thanks,
Yes.
I feel that.
So,
Yeah, you had a question.
yeah, I had a question for you. I mean, you're telling us that you were homeless, living on a bridge in West Palm Beach. So from that point to this point, how did you, dig yourself out of that?
I experienced a number of mental health hospitalizations, and finally, what changed is the Boynton Beach Police Department helped me secure the right type of admission at the VA Medical Center with some officers with rank who simply impressed upon them that this had been going on for years, mind you, in our community, in the county, and I was offered treatment for the first time in a number of years. And I had mentioned when we went to break that my availing myself of the West Palm Beach VA Medical Center, I would be repeatedly locked in a psych ward, which we call 3C, and that's 28 times in a 5-year period, and discharged back to the same condition. And
This is when you went there for help.
And or discharged with all my meds until it refused treatment. But in those 28 times, I was placed in front of a mental health court judge, and that they petitioned to involuntarily place me in a state hospital taking guardianship and fiduciary. And all 3 of those times were mitigated and denied by the magistrates of our mental health court here in the county. So all of that, I finally came through a treatment with contiguous housing that was helped with here in the community, the place where I went for treatment, and their housing partners. And then I found a referral to the Lord's Place in our county. And the Lord's Place housed me 1 year ago this week, December 7th. I went into their women's program. I lived with 10 other women in their Burkle place. And then I graduated in October with my compensation and pension available to me. And I moved into an apartment, my first in 9 years living here in the county, and it's a Lord's Place apartment. And so I'm really,
Wow.
I'm really grateful that I've executed a lease, and I've paid 2 months of rent so far.
Congratulations on that.
That's
Very.
And
That's
the
great.
dimensions, the dimensions to complete this and bring this full circle back to therapy. The dimensions of recovery are health, home, purpose, and community. And we female veterans are at a little disadvantage with our fellow male veterans, because they're not missing the home piece. They have the transitional housing and the support with Department of Labor reintegration grants. They receive $200,000 reintegration grants, and we females have never seen any of that assistance through the charity that receives that. And it's not important now, because now, we have, the kind of path that I've carved through, and to be sitting with you here today, that's the idea that when the women transition out of this, Congress is considering the full proposal for funding assistance, and it's going to the Senate to be voted on, and then it will be signed into law. It has a lot of favorable response in Congress. And there was a meeting just last week with Speaker of the House's staff, Nancy Pelosi's staff, and it's making its way to Senate, and it's very well received in Congress. So here we have the first of our kind national program, and I want to point out, and this will help our therapies nationally, the programs that the justification for federal funding. This was presented. Whispering Oaks Ranch programs provide a mechanism for implementation of community-based services consistent with their objectives, goals, and recommendations. For the SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, that's a federal administration, and this agency alone, this horse ranch, will help them achieve their fiscal year 2019 to 2023 strategic plan goals.
So
And
how did this come about? So you're getting on your own. You're in the program. How did suddenly this come?
I was in a halfway house in Delray Beach, and I went across the street to the Phoenix Studios on Atlantic and Military, and I found myself with a stylist whose sister is best friends with Mitch Colton, the founder of Women Veterans in Crisis.
Wow.
And she said, "Wait, I've heard this before." And she got me connected with Mitch last July. We've been talking, and he says, "Tiffany, you're exactly what we're trying to produce. You're a role model. You've achieved it." So with endorsement and encouragement, I'm continuing here in our community, and then this will come on board in the next year, and that population will be here. It's here, but it'll be a different version. It'll be a treated population.
So how could someone that's listening or viewing can get involved in that, or can help and assist what your cause is?
It would be support for the female veteran population. So
is there
it
a
would-
website that they can go to?
Yes, it's Women Veterans in Crisis, and that's it's located in Ocala, Florida.
Or a phone number that someone can call?
Thank you. It's the phone number is 352 area code 258-3362, 352-258-3362, and this would be Mitchell, MITCHELL .Colton, COULTON at WVIcrisis.org.
This is the Women Veterans in Crisis.
So this is essentially, this is what's not okay. And this I myself experienced in our county, unfortunately,
Yeah.
for a long period of time.
And it's not. And by the way, it's not just veterans. I worked with the food bank in New York City, and there's many reasons people end up homeless through no real fault of their own, through just a series of bad circumstances. People lose their homes because they went to the hospital and they didn't know it was going to cost $800,000 for whatever was wrong with them, and then they go bankrupt. And they can't work, and then they've got nothing. It just happens to people out of the blue.
Yeah. And it's
And
unfortunate.
it's unfortunate, but I think the most important thing to take away from this is that it is fixable.
It is.
And shame on people who think it isn't, and shame on people who say, "Oh, those homeless people," or whatever, because that's what it takes. It takes a home and a bed and a shower and some people to talk to, and then people can help hopefully turn their lives around. And Tiffany here is not only turning her life around,
Right.
but is now
Such a
going
role
to set up,
model.
is building
Thank
this
you.
facility to help 250 other women. And of those 250 women, 5, 10, whatever, are going to be also people who will turn around and be able to help other people. And it grows and prospers.
Right.
But only if you start by treating a person who's homeless with some dignity and respect and doing something for them other than telling them to go away when they try to wash your window or whatever.
Yeah.
These are people, for God's sake. It's like we have to
Right.
do something about this stuff.
I sentiment echo what you're saying, Phil, and I think, maybe, we can all sit down together and see how we can partner and help in whatever, I don't know what we can do. I really don't know, but we're all in it together to help. You have an extraordinary story.
Getting the word out there.
Just getting
that's,
the
I think,
word
that's-
out.
Thank you very
that's
much.
probably
We're
the start
we wish
there.
you all the best. And you're not going to need it. You're going to be extremely successful.
Thank you, Chris.
And I know you're doing it out of your heart more than anything, your personal experiences. And I think you're going to help. You're not going to help 250 women. I think you're going to help 250 million
At a
women.
time, yeah.
Great.
And the children. This is just the beginning for you. And so
We wish you luck.
we appreciate, and you being on our show today, which
Thank
was
you so much.
unplanned,
Yes.
unexpected, and I think there was a reason for this today. I really believe that there was a reason why you're here. We're all here together today.
I agree.
So, yeah, fantastic.
I agree.
Thank you. It's just a great thing you're
So
doing.
if you want to let our viewers and listeners know again how they can get a hold
Yeah.
of Mitch or yourself.
Well, the website.
Phone number or the
you got a
website.
website?
Yes.
That's most important.
So we have there's an Office of Public Affairs, so it's public affairs at wvicrisis.org. Telephone is 352-533-2789. And then it's Mitch Colton is the executive director, and his direct phone number is 352-258-3362, 352-258-3362. And Mitch actually had a sibling that was military and had a veteran and had committed suicide. And he had worked in this state at in great levels of the mental health area. And so he's just combined it all, and he's a godsend.
Well, we'd like to follow along with you and definitely have you back on the show and with Mitch as well. But
Yeah.
can anybody reach out to you directly and speak to you, especially women, or?
Oh, yes, definitely. So it's Tiffany Kennedy. My email address is tiffanykennedyj@gmail.com. I really appreciate that opportunity because we still have some cracks, and we lost a fellow female veteran in July due to
It's
not being organized. So I appreciate the opportunity. It's tiffanykennedyj@gmail.com. And we'll begin to keep you posted through the Brooklyn Cafe show and Hemp Boca on our progress. And so this time next year, there should be a home in our community for women.
And we're transitioning women off the street and
Right.
and out of situations where they have to be by themselves, or with their children, which is even worse if you have to.
well,
So we're
hopefully,
talking
yeah.
about people can help with basic necessities, supplies, food, clothing, cosmetics, things that women and children need to get by in life. Imagine just a homeless person having to, they've got a place now to stay, but what do they have? Nothing else.
Right.
Employment is
Oh.
welcome, but it
Yeah.
takes a lot. It took me 6 years to stabilize to get to a point where I could do the home and health piece. And fortunately, I have the community to help support me in a purpose. But a lot of women aren't exactly going directly straight to be reemployed with, so they need kind of like a different type of community, something to
Right.
vector them into
Right.
programming, or maybe there's a agency called SCORE that helps start businesses. So people who
Yeah.
want to help write business plans for these women who can start programs and get grants for preventative health medicine or whatever they have a talent for.
There's also community projects you guys can do, and I could talk to you about that sometime, because, in other words, you have a group of women,
Population, yes.
and as you say, erratically able to work, but able to work. And there are many, people can do, you guys can do on-site assembly work, put things together, put mailings together. There's certain
Right.
businesses out there who may have a need for these intelligent, skilled women who've been in service, not bums on the street, and if you need something done that can be done by groups of people
Right.
for a fairly low cost, they can pool their labor and share the revenues. That's the kind of thing that they could really use to help them
Right.
bring some revenue
Yes.
in also.
Yeah.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah, we gotta
Yes,
bring the
Thanks, Phil.
we can
show
talk.
to an end.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
talk to her about after the show. But right now, we have to kind of sign off. And it's been a great show. Thank you
Yes.
so much, guys, for being here. Such an
Yes.
honor to be sitting here interviewing you. Appreciate
So,
you coming on the
thanks for
show.
joining us. That's Gene and Chris, Phil, and Tiffany Kennedy with the Hemp Boca Show. We broadcast every Tuesday,
Yes.
2:30 to 3:30 out of Boca Raton. And
Visit us at hempboca.com or give us a call at 561-330-5655.
And please, anyone out there that is watching this, and if when you get access to our show, share it, please, as many people as you can and possible, especially, just in support of Tiffany Kennedy. Want to get the word out as much as we can. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you
Thank you.
next
See you
week.
next week.
Thanks.
The views and opinions expressed on the Hemp Boca Show are those and the guests and audience, and are not those of the host, this station, media platforms, its management. The Hemp Boca Show is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Any information related to CBD products providing during the show are not intended to treat, diagnose, prevent, or cure, or make any medical claims. Before using CBD, Gene and Chris recommend you seek advice from a medical professional. Keep all CBD products away from children. Women who are pregnant, trying, or breastfeeding should not use CBD or hemp products unless instructed by your medical doctor. Hemp Boca's products are made in the USA from an FDA-registered facility that also carries the GMP, Good Manufacturing Practices, Organic, and ISO, International Standards Organization certificates. To access lab reports, visit www.hempboca.com. You must be 18 years or older to purchase product from Hemp Boca.